carry the casket. Past this plane of existence, where the rain is persistent, and there's no such thing as pain or fame in an instant. I became the resistance, the undead promise, the aim, the distance, the shots, the game, the wisdom, the block, the fame, the visions, the pain, the struggle, the brain disorder, flames of rubble, unshaven stubble.
Right guys, so I'm here in Milan, Italy. Now I don't actually have my music making equipment with me. However, it's impossible not to be inspired with something like the Duomo behind me. So as soon as I'm back in England, I'm going to be flipping an Italian sample into a boom bap beat. I had a sick trip out to Milan. If you haven't been, I'd highly recommend going. And since coming back, I've been checking out all different types of Italian music, everything from folk music to classical, movie and film soundtracks. And it was when I was searching through the movie and film soundtracks that I came across the track that I'm going to be flipping today. Now this track is called Universal Minds and it's by the Mystic Moods Orchestra. Now I don't actually think they're an Italian group, I think they're an American group, but it's kind of got the vibe that I want to go for. Now I haven't actually done anything here to the sample, all I've done is import it. I've just let Ableton auto warp it. This is kind of the main part that I like in the sample here, which is some vocals. Then it's got a section over here which has the vocals and a bit more instrumentation. It's a bit fuller. I think that's probably the section that I'll use for the verse. Then there's another section over here that brings the vocal back in, but also has a really nice violin behind it. I think this will be really good for like a chorus section. Just going to start by cutting the sections that I want. So we can split this off here and delete this part. Split this and bring it over. We can split this one here and we can delete this part. And finally just split off the outro. Let's just color these to keep them organized. So the first thing that I want to do here is remove the low end and the drums. To do this, I'm going to use a little bit of Acon Digital Remix. Solo the bass. Take the sensitivity up. And just mute that section now. Already a lot cleaner. Let's solo the drums. Turn this up. Even though the vocal's the main part of this sample that I really like, I'm just going to control the level of it and just drop it down just a little bit. I'm just going to bring this other part up. Next, I'm just going to freeze and flatten this. I can still hear some low end from the kick drum, so we're just going to EQ that out as well. I think that's much better. I usually like to build up my chorus section the most and then break it all down for the verses. So I'm just going to loop this section here. Now, because I've made the sample quite thin by taking out the low end, I'm just going to boost some frequencies with this Mag EQ. Add in some air. Even though this is an old sample from the 1960s, I still want to make it feel a bit more vintage and retro. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some RC20. A little bit more noise actually. Just kind of helps to give it that feel like you've sampled it directly from a vinyl. Something that I also like to do when I'm working with samples is just bring the width down. This will give us some extra space in the stereo field if we want to add our own instruments and counter melodies. So I'm going to drop this to about 20%. Let's try pitching it up maybe 2 semitones. Yeah, I think that sounds better there. I think we could do something like maybe a 90s kind of boom bap beat with this. Now, because we've removed all that low end, I want to reintroduce some with a piano. Now, I've just realized because I took the audio off YouTube, I don't actually know the scale of this. Now, I could use my ears and go through the keys and figure out what notes sound really good. However, not everybody can do that, so I'll show you a really easy way. There's a website here called tunebap.com, completely free to use. All you have to do is upload your audio, and it'll analyze it and tell you what scale it's in. So it's saying the original was in G minor. As we pitched it up 2 semitones, that means we should be working in A minor. If we set this to A minor. Sounds correct to me. So I'm just going to reintroduce some low end by following the progression that's already in the sample. Okay, so I just hit an off note here at the end. This one should be here. Just quantize these quickly. Bring the volume down. Just really helps make the melody sound a lot fuller. Next, I'm just going to thicken out the low end even more by adding some Scarby Rickenbacker bass. I've just got this set on the both Pure DI preset. I'm just going to follow the same notes as the piano, but kind of add a little bit more rhythm into that. Just quantize these. Then I'm just going to hit legato as well, so all the notes stretch out. Recently, I've really been liking the drum kits on TrackLib. I'm not sponsored, but they got some really nice boom back kits on there. I think I'm going to go with this heavy snare. I'm just going to put these on the 2 and the 4. I think we could maybe have an extra hit here as well, but I just want to pull the velocity down slightly. I'm quite liking this kick drum here. So I'm just going to go ahead and record that in really quickly. I think there's a few hits here that I played when the snare's hitting, so I'm just going to remove those. Then all I'm going to do is quantize these. So I can see here and here where I had an extra hit, just pulled it out. That's because these hits were on the triplet grid. So I should just move this one here and bring one here as well. The triplets really help give that kind of old school boom bap swing. I'm going to remove this one here where the snare is as well. Then any that are here like this on the triplet grid, I'm just going to pull them slightly down in velocity. As you can hear, it's quite subtle. It kind of has that old school feeling. Okay, I'm liking the way those drums feel, so let's find a hi-hat. All I'm going to do here is keep it really simple. I'm just on the 8th note grid. I'm going to place one in, bring the next one down in velocity. I'm just going to copy these all the way over. Then after highlighting them all, I'm just going to randomize them by a small amount. And then I'm just going to humanize them as well. Now you can play these in by hand and keep the natural timings of where you play. However, I find I play just a little bit too off grid. So I prefer to do it this way with the humanize button. Just going to transpose that down by 1 as well. Now I'm just going to find a second hi-hat. It has a slightly different texture like this one here. Then I'm just going to bring up every 4th note. I think I could bring the volume of the snare just up a little bit. In fact, I think we could add a little bit more snap to it by using a transient shaper. So I'm just going to add a little bit of smack attack. We could do something similar with the kick as well. On this though, I'm just going to set it to clip so we can get some saturation from the clipper. I'm just going to bring the output up and the attack up just a little bit. I can just bring the volume down just a little bit on these. Now, obviously, sometimes when you're sampling and you're flipping things into something completely new, you want to add a bunch of your own melodies on top to create something completely unique. However, with the samplers, I'm just going with the flow of the vibe that's already there. I don't want to add too much. But I do want to add a couple of things just to put my own unique stamp on it. So the first thing I want to add here is a chorus. So all I'm going to do here is take the bass line and bring it down. Then we're just going to look to pitch this up. Hand this out to one of the sides. And then to balance that out, hand on the other side, I'm just going to add some string staccatos. So I'm just going to click in a really quick counter melody here. I also changed the choir to being over here on the left, and I pan these over to the right. And then just to make them fit in a little bit more, I kind of filtered it with some EQ, and I just added a little bit of reverb and a little bit of chorus. I'm just going to go ahead and use this Catalyst Crash out of the Keep It 500 kit. As always, free kit, link is in the description down below. I'm just going to transpose it down by 2, place it right at the start of the pattern. And I'm going to go ahead and use this Ember Open Hat as well. Just going to go ahead and place this at the end of every 2 bars. Then when that hits, we'll just take out the hi-hat as well. And I'm also just going to transpose this down by a few semitones. I think we could probably transpose the kick down one as well. I think that's better there. And then lastly, I think I'm just going to use this tambourine. And I'm just going to put this onto every second snare hit. We'll just copy that all the way along. This will just add some variation to our snare. So I want to drop down the volume quite a bit. Kind of makes each snare hit feel a little bit different. But the beat's sounding pretty full. So I'm going to go ahead and take all the parts that we've put down here to structure out all the other sections. Hopefully you've enjoyed the cook-up. Let me know what you think of the final beat in the comments down below as well. If you haven't been to Milan, I'd highly recommend it. And until next time, I've been SK. Peace.